All right, Marcus, thanks for taking the time to hang out with me a little bit, chat with me, introduce yourself to the group that I have the pleasure of working with, and tell us a little bit about your campaign. So let's start there. Let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about you for people that maybe only see you in the school board meetings. Who are you, and why did you decide to run for election this year?
Sure. Marques Holmes. I currently have the Humble ISD position 6 on the Board of Trustees. Um, I serve that with honor. Um, Giving you just a little background on me, from Albuquerque, New Mexico, born and raised. Uh, Went to school in North Carolina, earned my bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from North Carolina A&T State University. Spent about a year in Dallas, the DFW area, right after college. Then I was moved down here by another tech firm, and I've been in the Houston area since 2000. Have an amazing set of kids. My son currently attends Westlake Middle School. He's in the Spanish immersion program. He's 12 years old, sixth grade. This district is just growing so fast. And if you're, why did I get into this? I've always been involved with youth, um, always, whether it's being a mentor at church or some other type of group, providing mentorship, kids, students, our children. It's always mattered to me. You pay it forward. So um, I wanted to do more, and I ran for election in 2021. I lost to who is now one of my closest friends, Ken Kirchhoffer. And since then, I've joined and had a chance to be a part of Humble ISD Education Foundation as a board member. Leadership Lake Houston. I've been in um, prior instances, Leadership Houston, John Maxwell certified, DISC certified, all those 4DX, Franklin Covey. So I've done quite a bit in terms of, I thank God for the companies and people that have sewn into me and shown me what good leadership looks like.
Let's start with our first topic, which is we've got a number of both candidates and members of our community that have brought up some concerns around materials and books that they say are in Humble ISD libraries that they feel are both inappropriate and in some cases harmful. Now I know you're on the board, so you've heard some of this already in meetings. I'd love to just hear your thoughts on that topic, generally speaking, what we're thinking as the community has approached you about it.
Sure. Coming from the standpoint that as parents have brought books to us, we initially did not have a plan in place, but from that, we did, right? We've instituted a plan where parents can come notify us. We've asked, students, families, parents, notify us if there's something that has slipped through the cracks out of the thousands and thousands of books that come through the district, through the approval of TEA, right? There have been books that we have taken off shelves. But what we've ultimately done, Oscar, is we had some parents who were saying, well, I don't see anything wrong with that book. Whereas we had the other side saying, we do. So what we decided to do is we put the complete control of what books your student can read in your hands. You can go to the Home Access Center and earmark a book, and it will not be made available to that student. And you could, whatever it is, no questions asked. We have put the control back in our parents' hands, which ultimately is what we want to do, right? And it's the right thing to do. Parents want that control. We've given it to them. Now, I want to address this notion that Humble ISD is peddling pornography. That's an absolute lie. I'll put it like this. If we were peddling pornography, I think you'd see us being carted out in handcuffs because that's against the law, right? For minors and for us to be peddling pornography. We are not. All the books that come through our libraries have been approved by TEA and our librarians, and we have some amazing librarians. I will say this, though. Our publishing companies, we have two, We've told both that if you include books that we have not approved, essentially by TEA and Humble ISD, you're on notice, right? They have been served notice that we will no longer do business with them. So again, we're asking our parents, we're asking our students, if there's something that doesn't look right, please bring it to us. We can go through the process of vetting it along with you. And if we deem it inappropriate, we will remove it. But again, ultimately, we have placed the majority, as a matter of fact, 100% of the books that are in our libraries, our parents from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade can mark those books out that they don't want their students to read.
I want to talk about school safety. It's on the mind of a lot of parents, as you know, right now. And it's kind of dual faceted. We have internal issues, bullying, fighting in the schools, and then we've got external threats, right? So let's start with the first one, bullying, fighting within schools. And I understand that on the topic of safety, you can't tell us everything, right? Some of it you've got to protect students by keeping it on the down low, if you will. But what you can share, so what are you proud of in that area, and what improvements do we need to make, starting with that internal issue of bullying and fighting?
Yeah, great question. That is, for several board members, including myself, that is a huge topic that we still also tie to safety of our students and teachers. It is the number one item in terms of security, right? That where bullying is encompassed. So for me, what I'm looking at is it says it should be a zero tolerance policy. I think the district, I think we can do better. And there's certain things that are underway that will be revealing forthcoming. But I am going to tell you, we can do better. If we're leading in, the CTE will and CCMR and all of these other great things, we've got to be leading in how we're dealing with bullying. I believe it's a zero tolerance policy. I am all for adding more budget to High Point. High Point is an alternative school outside the district where we send those students who just don't work in an Humble ISD environment, right? Teachers need to feel safe to teach, and students need to feel safe so they can learn. And there's really nothing else in between that. That's it. So it's a zero tolerance policy. And again, I'm going to vote when it comes before me, adding more budget to add more seats where we can send students, for that. Yes, I want to rehab. We want to definitely rehabilitate those students. But again, that can't happen within the environment of all the other students who are trying to learn. So if we have to send them outside the district for a time being, and then when they're ready to come back, fine. But that's where it's at, right? So it's zero tolerance on bullying, and we have to do better.
All right, so let's shift to those external threats, right? And that unfortunately is top of mind for a lot of people. We've seen it in the news, even in the last few weeks. When we look at the campaigns that are out there for school board right now, we're really kind of seeing what appears to me a little bit of a split. We've got one group that's talking about things like arming teachers and hardening the schools as much as we can. And then we've got this flip side that's talking mostly about mental health, things along that nature. So I'd love to kind of hear what your philosophy is when we're talking about safety. What are you proud of that the district's doing well? And what improvements need to be made, if any?
Sure. It's a combination of a few things. One, when you talk about, safety, it's our number one budget item. Number one, anytime it's brought before me and it's time to vote on anything that can increase the safety and the security of our schools, the hardening of our schools, keeping our administration, our students, our faculty safe, I'm always going to vote for a positive yes on that. All right. Now, what are we proud of? We're the 7th rated safest school district in Texas, but we're not trying to just keep that there. We want to be number one. And it's not about being able to, wave a flag in the air and say, hey, we're number one. What matters to me is that our parents feel safe sending their students to school, their children. What matters to me is when that husband or that wife when they're sending when they're sending off or greeting and waving bye to their spouse or their significant other or that family member, that they feel safe. So we're doing some really good things. We have the shields that the district, notified our community about. I believe we were one of the first in the country to do that. It is a stopgap measure, right? But it's a proactive measure with what we have to deal with, right? Now, I will tell you this. I am a firm opponent of having guns in schools. There are a couple of candidates that are pushing for that. And I am a firm believer, and I've talked to several teachers, administrative staff, as well as chief cook. And I've talked to other, legislators and law enforcement. That is the wrong thing to do. I also am against this guardian program where we have, people that go through some type of training. And yes, it has been approved at the state level, but the guardian program is really for districts that don't have a law enforcement team. We have our own private, or I shouldn't say private, but our own police force, Humble ISD Police. Chief Cook has spoken before our legislature. He's one of the longest tenured chiefs. We have a great staff. We're trying to grow it. We have a few openings. So if anybody is interested and said, hey, I like that Guardian program, we're not going to be offering it as long as I'm on this board. But I will tell you this, there's some openings on the staff for becoming a peace officer here at Humble ISD. Again, the hardening of our schools, yes, if you'll notice, every single school, every single one from elementary to high school, you just can't walk into our high schools, right? You have to be buzzed in. If you want to volunteer, you got to go through that process. But at a minimum, there's film that can minimize the impact of bullets if that was the case. We again have a staff of police. Do we want to do more? Yes. Are we seeking legislation where we can have additional budget to have a police officer at every elementary school? I would like that. Yes. But right now, that's a little hard because, again, you're still looking at a budget, right, that we're trying to manage with the sixth fastest growing school district in Texas. So, it's a lot to manage, but I will tell you that we are proactively always pushing the boundaries of what we can do to keep our students and our teachers and our administrative staff safe.
Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on a push for greater mental health resources within the district. How crucial do you find that? Do you think it's crucial at all? What are your thoughts, generally speaking, on that?
Absolutely. This is, again, where Dr. Fagan and her team, I think, are doing an incredible job of pushing the envelope, seeing things beyond just where they are from a myopic view, right? Just singularly looking at bullying and, gun violence. These things have a genesis, right? They have a beginning, and it all is traced back to mental health, right? There's something going on there. So I absolutely believe in mental health. I do not believe in, indoctrination and, things associated with that. We have a great team of counselors. We've done some really strategic moves to offload administrivia where our counselors can actually focus on being counselors. Right now, we have the community. There's certain members in the community. Hosan Pinto, right? I believe he was in Austin just yesterday. I believe he has 2 children at Bear Branch Elementary, and he's advocating for more funding for mental health schools, right? Or these mental health institutions within Humble ISD to really help. Because again, if you can get to somebody's mind and help affect change that is positive, you can eliminate bullying or minimize it, as well as all of these school shootings. It's most of the time traced back to mental illness. So Humble ISD, again, is leading the charge in that. And again, I'm very appreciative of what Dr. Fagan and her team are doing.
I've noticed on your website, and I've of course listened to you at the forums where I've had the opportunity to do so. You've talked about a few things. Your phrases are keep it about the students and the teachers and the community. So let's talk about the student piece of it. One thing that you've mentioned in a couple of different areas is that we want to make sure that our students have the best chance at competing in a global economy, right? So having said that, if it was up to Marques and you had some budget to allocate, where are your priorities when it comes to keeping it about the students and reaching that goal?
Oh man, that's a great question. So one, want to continue to fund those programs that benefit a couple of different areas, right? One, those that desire to go to college and seek a degree, whether that's in becoming a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, an accountant, right? All of those, we want to continue to fund those types of programs that get them ready and allow them to figure out what they would want to do. That's what I really appreciate about, the CTE wheel. Earlier and earlier, they're getting a chance to just inspect what they like and that curiosity. It's allowed to just kind of let them feel before they actually have to jump out there and their parents have to take on some student loan debt. But again, we're hoping we're going to get some scholarships, right, for those students. So what we're trying to do is just really, again, bring that curiosity, right, out of our kids and allow them to explore. Or if it's military readiness, we have great ROTC programs here in the district. Again, thank you to those instructors that are leading them, those leaders. But I also want to focus on something else, our special needs, right? Our special education. I want to make sure that as we're going through and really finding out more about, children that have dyslexia, I want to make sure that we are holding ourselves as a district accountable for making sure that those students out there have just as good of an opportunity. It's just they learn a little bit differently. And so, whether it's schools like Eagle Springs Elementary, who I've heard have a fantastic dyslexia program and have some great teachers. I know that there's others out there, right, in the district. I want to make sure that we're also equipping those children, right, those students that might have special needs, that we're also preparing them. And we're doing some really incredible things. So that type of funding is what I'm looking for. That's what I'm always going to try to say. We need to invest in that while still trying to figure out and maintain a balanced budget.
Before we move on to the next part of your campaign, I want to tap the brakes on this for one moment, because in the course of this election season, a few of the campaigns have talked and using the language a drastic decline in test scores is their concern in Humble ISD. So first of all, do you agree with their initial data that there is a drastic decline in test scores? And if that's the case, what do we need to do as a district?
Sure. I wholeheartedly disagree. As I've jokingly said, but am somewhat serious. I'm an electrical engineer. I took years and years of advanced math. And I will tell you what what TEA does in terms of STAR and how they assess it is confusing. And so I'm going to tell you this. There's a reason why. And so I'm going to look at it from the standpoint of our incredibly smart parents here in the district. There's a reason why we get calls every day of parents who are moving in the district and they're interviewing us. They're asking about certain things. They're asking about, what enrichment programs they have. What are we doing because my child is dyslexic? What do you offer? My child, special needs, what are we doing? So we're being interviewed all the time. And I would venture to say that if a district with all of this public data that is available, but you have some really, really, again, smart, sharp parents, How is it that we're the sixth fastest growing school district if we have these declining test scores over the last 10 years? Doesn't make sense to me. Something's not adding up, because I believe that, again, parents know that a school district that's failing, home values are going to decline because people are going to be moving out of the district. But in our case, people are moving in the district. So that right there is a telltale for me, telltale sign. Now, can we be improving? Are we looking at enriching some of our curriculum? Always. I mean, that's what we're supposed to be doing, right? We're all supposed to be pushing and challenging and enriching, our kids, and in it being rigorous, right? In terms of the academics that we're putting forward, right? But I will tell you this: when it comes to our curriculum, back in I believe it was 2016, 2017, we had the portrait of a graduate. We brought in community leaders, parents, business owners, again, people in the community that, again, very sharp. And they say, we are not going to relegate our teachers to the pressure of delivering a test, and that's what their success is defined by. And we're not going to do it for our children. We're not doing it. Their success is not going to be based on a one-day test. We're going to base it on SAT scores. We're going to base it on ACT scores, where we know what the scoring mechanisms are and how it's scored. I'm going to take it a little step further, Oscar. Here's what we do. We basically have created local accountability, right? We've created a local accountability system that uses the best assessment strategies, right? Which means that it's one-to-one. I'm going to give you a prime example. My son, after he came back to school from the pandemic, he was having difficulty with math, one of his favorite subjects. He's having difficulty with math. I called his teacher. We brought in, the math coaches, and they literally were able to pinpoint where the challenges were. And then we created a plan. Notice I said we, because me as a parent, I'm responsible. I'm responsible as well. And my job is to support the teacher, not the other way around. We're here to support major, but I'm here to help undergird and provide the foundation for our teachers. That's my responsibility as a parent. So they were able to pinpoint, and that's where I'm going when I talk about the assessments, whether it's we have 3 times where we provide assessments of every single one of our students, and we can look at it on a graph where they've grown year over year and at different points in the year. So we do 3 assessments: beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of year, where we can show a parent, a student, and that teacher, the district, we can see personalized learning plans that'll show and track the growth and where we need to supplement, where we need to complement. So I'm going to say this: we absolutely are trending in the right direction. And I'm going to show, and again, the data. We have some good real estate agents that are parents too. They're going to tell you that parents are seeing this as a good district as well, because they definitely are still continuing to move here. Hope that answered it in a roundabout but direct way.
Let's move to the next part of your campaign, which is the keeping it about the teachers. And you mentioned on the website specifically talking about retaining good teachers. And we got a lot of questions about that when I asked the community what we wanted to ask candidates. So talk to me a little bit about, one, how's Humble ISD doing right now with employee retention? And 2, what needs to improve, if anything, in that area?
Sure. I think there's always room for improvement, right? No organization is perfect. But are we doing the right things to make this an environment where our teachers feel listened to, where they feel that their opinions matter? I believe so. But again, can we be better? Yes, always. I'm going to give you a data point. It's factual. We are at 98% staff. 98%. There's other school districts, HISD, nowhere near that. And it's hard to, and that's not a point of gloating. I'm concerned because again, those are still our students. That is still our next generation of people in this world, and they have a staffing shortage. Humble ISD, 98% staff. Our retention falls within normal levels. I don't have that particular data, but I will tell you again, we were rated as one of the top school districts in our area by teachers. I know that me personally, I have teachers that are outside the school district that happen to live in Humble ISD saying, "Hey, Marcus, what jobs are available?" And I believe we are about to have a job fair, or we just had one. But I will tell you, I'm sending them that link to register. So again, can we be doing better? Yes. But will I tell you that we are trending in that direction? Absolutely. But again, the goal is to make sure that our teachers feel safe, they feel listened to, and that they feel valued. I'm letting you know, as a trustee board member, I want to do better about that. We have the prize posse, that just came out last week, and showed the love for these teachers that had applied for grants. That right there, to see some teachers cry, not because they won the money, but because of what they applied for, they can now share that with students. That right there is everything to me. That's what matters, our teachers. So again, we can do better, Oscar, but we're going to do all we can to keep this at 98% staffed, which is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And again, in corporate America, understanding what those numbers look like, 98% is, again, phenomenal. That's really almost unheard of, especially with how things are going on, right now when it comes to just the education system. 90%, again, is almost unheard of with such a large school district as ourselves.
So let's talk about the last tenet of your campaign, keeping it about the community. We get a lot of feedback about this too. So let me just ask you, how do you feel the relationship right now is between the board and the community, and the board and teachers and staff? Can it be improved? Does it need to be improved? What are your thoughts about that culture right now?
Sure. I think when you're talking about students, you're talking about the community, which their property taxes help pay for things going on in our school district. You have to always be pushing the boundaries of what you think is good. I would say that in some circles, it's not good. And I've listened to, across the district, people that feel that they're not heard. What I'm planning to do moving forward, and I've been doing it, but I want to increase that effort, is just making sure that people in the community know they can reach out to me directly. You don't have to wait for a once a month board meeting where you're talking to us for 3 minutes, and because of policy, right, we can't say anything back. But if you can talk to me, we can have a conversation, and you can share with me your concerns and your frustrations, because I'm the voice back into the district. The community votes me in, right? I am here on behalf of the community. So that's my job. That's where we can be doing better. There are some groups of people who feel we're doing fine, right? But again, they're always wanting us to, be cutting edge in terms of just pushing the agenda to make sure the students in the community are doing well, while balancing, a $1 billion budget, right? So you have to remember, we're for governance, and our only employee is Dr. Fagan. So we will not, venture over into operations, but we can make recommendations, right? We can ask questions. But again, Dr. Fagan and her team, that's what they do. We handle the money. And again, our only employee is Dr. Fagan.
You mentioned board meetings and public comments, and that you've heard a lot about that during this election season. The fact that public comments are limited to a certain amount of time. Right now it's 1 minute. It's been longer in the past. What are your thoughts on that issue? It's being raised by several members of the
Sure.
community that time needs to be longer. For that, against that, why or why not?
Sure. I think if it could be changed back to 3 minutes, that would be awesome, right? But I also have people in the community who are saying 1 minute is just fine. Mr. Holmes, Marcus, if we need to reach out to you, we can call you, we can email you, we can have a conversation. And again, I'm letting you know, people will tell you if you reach out to me on Facebook Messenger, I'm not trying to hide. I'll hit you right back and I'll say either I don't know, I'll get an answer, or we're interacting and I'm providing at least some context, some perspective to your question. So I'm going to say that 3 minutes, if it could go back to that, great. But that's up to our board president, right? I have no control over that, and she has the ability to lengthen it or shorten it based on what she feels is necessary to conduct a meeting, right? But again, all of our board members, and I believe everybody on our board, I'm looking at everybody, they will take a call, they will take a text message, they will answer an email, especially if it's addressed specifically to them. I hope that helps because we're not closed off. I don't want you waiting once a month for a board meeting. No, reach out to me, please.
Now, we're all in our own social bubbles for the most part. You've got yours, I've got mine. And one question that I got a lot was, okay, we have these people either running for election, running for re-election, or this kind of in-between thing that you're doing right now. So the one question is, okay, Mr. Holmes, how are you interacting with constituents that are not part of your normal social bubble? What are you doing to make sure you're hearing from those people?
Yeah. So, I mean, on you could say, quote unquote, my lunch break yesterday, I met for 90 minutes with Josean Pinto. He shared with me as a concerned parent, but an informed parent on security measures that we could take at the district. So I want you to realize this is outside of work. Yes, I have a day job that pays the bills. I have a 12-year-old son. I coach basketball, right? But I want to be a part of this district and affect change. So I met with this concerned parent, concerned father, has really done the research, was on his way to Austin after our meeting, and had been to Austin earlier this week to really push on and fight for this mental health budget, so we can bolster that here in the district. Earlier in the week, I had met with another person, and I will tell you that's what it looks like when you're meeting with your constituents. Not waiting on a board meeting. I want them to reach out to me directly and we talk. That's what matters. The bullying, that's what matters. I want to hear that. We've got to do better as a district. We can't be leading in one area or in several areas and not be concerned about this bullying. So we, again, are really implementing some tighter controls on that. And again, I've already told you, it comes down to the money. I want more budget for seats at High Point. Again, these children that are causing too many problems for other children and limiting their learning and the teachers' learning, they need to be outside of this district.
I want to get to the end and give you a chance to kind of make your closing pitch, if you will. But before we do that, I've asked several questions, but are there any topics that maybe I didn't ask about that you want to make sure you address before we wrap up our time?
I think there's only one Oscar. This is just listening to the community. And I try to notice the golden thread in all conversations. And I think the one thing that I've learned over the last several months that I want to do better as a board member is just listening even more. But also, Oscar, me and you have talked about this in depth. I want us to figure out across which mediums, and it's going to have to be several, but we as a district have to do better about what's going on in the district, because we have some really incredible things going on, and parents are like, I didn't know. And again, I know with our lives as being a parent, a father, a husband, a wife, brother, sister, it's hard to grapple with that, but we still need to figure out how to do even better, right? So that's what I want to do, is just raise the visibility of the things that we're doing that matter to our parents. That's what they want to know about. I will also want to tell you, we're about the community. Have you seen some of these amazing, fantastic parks that we're doing on our elementary campuses? I mean, these playgrounds, I should say, they're just to see the community and the community dollars at work. That right there means a lot, right? Again, when we're talking about the community. So again, we're doing a lot of incredible things. Want us to do better. I want us to listen better to our teachers. One thing I've also heard, I want to make sure, and I want you to share this um, with a hashtag that says our substitute teachers. I want to make sure that they feel, and they're hearing it from me, that you're well thought of. We're thinking about you, that you're valued. We appreciate you. Our teachers as well. There's some teachers that, I mean, they give their all. Matter of fact, let's just say all of them do. All of them deserve a seven-figure salary. I know if I had control, they would be. They'd be, again, the highest paying profession, because a great teacher is worth their weight in gold. So again, just want to make sure we're creating the apparatuses within the district to make sure that they feel heard and that they feel valued, because money is not everything. Some teachers just want to be able to try different things in their tenure here. So that, I think, is one of the things why we have 98% of hiring, right? We're at 98%. I think I've seen it. There are teachers that are saying, you know what, I want to try something different. So we need to allow and continue to provide that mechanism, that pathway. So I know that it's not just one, it's several, but those are the things that I'm hearing from the community.
All right, so I want to give you a chance to make that final pitch, like I said earlier, and you're the incumbent for position 6. You've got 2 challenges this year, and you've probably heard me say I appreciate anybody that's willing to spend all this time and effort to run for the ultimate goal of being a volunteer. So having said that, we've got good people running across the district, including yourself. Why would somebody vote for Marques Holmes over the rest of the slate in position 6?
One, I care about each and every one of our students. I might not know their name, but I am absolutely 100% invested in making sure that our children can compete in a global economy. It's not about the politics. It is about our students. It is about our teachers. The number one thing that I'm still, again, hearing, and that's a recurring theme, is the safety. So I'm going to always continue to vote on safety, but I will never, ever, ever vote on our teachers having to now focus on being law enforcement while also teaching. That is a very slippery slope that I don't want to ever put our teachers or administrative staff in. I think the other thing is, I want to teach it. I want to keep it about the teachers as well. Any way that we can add more budget to pay them more, I'm always going to be in favor of it, right? But as a trustee, I want to make sure that we can keep a balanced budget. I want to make sure that we continue to be good stewards of our taxpayers, the community's money. We are the 6th fastest growing school district. I want that to continue to happen, that trend, because that means that people are seeing something different about this school district. I want to keep it that way. When it comes to, I think, just what the core elements and the core tenets of a trustee member, you have to care about kids. You have to care about students. I care. I genuinely care about our students. I genuinely care about each and every single one. I genuinely care about our teachers. I really wish that they could be paid 10 times more than all of us put together. These are the people that spend the majority of the day with our students. And I think every single teacher, if you ask any, especially, my son's teachers, they're going to tell you, if and when they have to call me, I'm always asking, or I'm up at the school volunteering, I'm always asking, how can I help you? So I want my teachers to know. And notice when I said mine, because it means something to me. You're part of my community. Teachers, I need you to vote for me, because a vote for me is one where I'm going to continue to push our administration to be great listeners, to keep you safe, and to make sure that your voice feels heard. And as far as the community, we're going to keep those taxes right where they are, or if we can lower them, we will, right? While still being the sixth fastest growing school district in Texas, and having just these amazing schools with all of these programs to enrich our students. So again, we all know this, Oscar. Great school districts help drive the price and value of homes, and it creates this cyclical effect. We want that to continue to happen, and that is important to me. If you want to check out my campaign, it's keephomes.com. If you want to reach out to me, you can. You can also put in there where you want to order a yard sign. Go to just keephomes.com. If you want to donate to the campaign, keephomes.com. But again, Oscar, I want to say thank you for allowing me to speak to your platform and be on your platform and speak to your parents. Parents, I'm letting you know, hit me up on Messenger. I'll answer. I promise you I will. Might take a while. I shouldn't say take a while. Might take a few hours, because I mean, it's the weekend and I'm a basketball coach, basketball dad. But I'm telling you, in between calls, I will get to you. And I mean, I will tell you, mostly everybody that you talk to will tell you the same thing. So again, please reach out to me. Don't wait for a board meeting. I want to talk to you. I want to hear from you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Marques, again, for your time and being willing to spend a little bit of time with us and tell us a little bit about why you're running for election this year. Best of luck in the campaign. I look forward to talking with you soon. Thank you again.
Thanks again, Oscar. You take care.